While America's supply chains struggle with crumbling concrete and 20th century rail systems, China is quietly finishing the world's most advanced automated logistics network. We are literally watching the global wealth engine shift east because our ports can't keep up. If we don't fix this infrastructure gap now, we're ceding the crown forever. This is not a distant, abstract policy debate. It's not just about ships, cranes, or highways. It's about who controls the arteries of global commerce in the 21st century. It's about which nation becomes the indispensable hub of trade, manufacturing, data, and power. For more than a century, the United States built and dominated the infrastructure that powered the world. From the transcontinental railroad to the interstate highway system, America created the physical backbone of globalization. Ports like Los Angeles and Long Beach became gateways for the global economy. Containers floating from Asia, grain and machinery flowed out, and the dollar reigns supreme. But today, cracks are forming, literally and figuratively. The American Society of Civil Engineers has warned that U.S. infrastructure is aging faster than it's being repaired. Bridges built in the 1950s still carry millions of tons of freight. Rail lines designed for a different centuries strain under modern demand. During the pandemic, when supply chains were tested, America's ports were overwhelmed. Cargo ships lined up for miles off the California coast. Containers piled up in yards. Retailers faced shortages. Consumers saw empty shelves. While America debated, China built. In the early 2000s, China made a strategic decision. Infrastructure would not be an afterthought, it would be the foundation of its rise. Massive state-backed investments poured into highways, rail corridors, deep-water ports, and logistics hubs. The result is a transformation on a scale rarely seen in human history. Consider the port of Shanghai. Today, it is the busiest container port in the world. Its Yangshan deep water port features fully automated terminals. Driverless electric vehicles transport containers across the docks. Giant robotic cranes move with algorithmic precision. Artificial intelligence optimizes stocking patterns and ship turnaround times. Human error is minimized. Efficiency is maximized. Or look at the port of Ningbo, Zhoushan, another titan of maritime trade. Together, China's megaports handle staggering volumes, dwarfing many Western counterparts. These are not just ports, they are integrated data ecosystems, connected directly to high-speed freight rail lines that span the country. China didn't stop at its coastline. It launched the Belt and Road Initiative, a sprawling global infrastructure strategy that stretches across Asia, Africa, Europe, and beyond. Rail lines through Central Asia, ports in the Indian Ocean, industrial parks in Africa, fiber optic cables across continents. The goal is cleared: position China at the center of global trade routes, not just as a manufacturer, but as the logistical brain of the planet. Meanwhile, in the United States, freight rail still relies heavily on systems designed decades ago. While private rail companies have invested in efficiency, high-speed freight corridors remain rare. Truck congestion chokes major highways. Inland ports struggle with outdated equipment. Even the expansion of key gateways like the port of New York and New Jersey has often lagged behind surging demand. The difference isn't just physical, it's digital. China's logistics strategy integrates 5G networks, AI-driven port management systems, blockchain-based customs processing, and smart warehousing. Factories connect directly to ports through real-time data streams. Predictive analytics forecast bottlenecks before they occur. Entire supply chains are mapped and optimized end-to-end. In America, by contrast, supply chain data is fragmented. Ports, trucking firms, rail operators, and warehouses often operate on separate systems. Information silos slow coordination. When disruptions occur, like a pandemic, labor strike, or geopolitical shock, the system lacks resilience. This gap has consequences. Logistics efficiency directly affects economic power. The faster goods move, the cheaper they become. The cheaper they become, the more competitive exports are. The more competitive exports are, the more influence a nation wields. Infrastructure is not glamorous, but it is destiny. China understands this. That's why it built the world's largest high-speed rail network, connecting industrial centers to ports in hours. That's why it modernized customs processes to reduce clearance times dramatically. That's why it invests in automation, even when labor is still relatively affordable, because long-term dominance demands maximum efficiency. The United States is not standing still. Recent legislation has allocated hundreds of billions of dollars for roads, bridges, ports, and broadband.
Port modernization projects are underway. Semiconductor manufacturing is being reshored. There is growing recognition that supply chain resilience is a matter of national security. But time matters. Infrastructure takes years, sometimes decades, to plan and build. Permitting processes can drag on. Political cycles shift priorities. Funding debates stall progress. Meanwhile, automated terminals in Shanghai continue to expand. Smart logistics parks multiply. Trade corridors deepen. And the implications go beyond economics. Control over logistics means leverage. During geopolitical tensions, nations with superior logistics networks can reroute trade, secure critical resources, and maintain industrial output. Those without flexibility face shortages and vulnerability. Supply chains are no longer just business tools, they are strategic assets. The rise of China's logistic machine is not accidental. It is coordinated, it is long-term, and it is relentless. So what does the future look like? Imagine a world in 2035 where most global trade flows through infrastructure financed, built, or digitally managed by China. Imagine supply chains that default to Chinese standards and platforms. Imagine developing nations whose ports, railways, and industrial zones are deeply integrated into Chinese systems. Influence would follow infrastructure. But this story is not finished. America still has enormous advantages: deep capital markets, innovative technology firms, world-class universities, and geographic positioning. Its ports can be modernized, its rail systems can be upgraded, its digital infrastructure can be unified. Public-private partnerships can accelerate progress. Automation and AI can transform aging terminals into smart hubs. The question is not whether the United States can compete, it's whether it will move fast enough. History teaches us that economic leadership shifts when infrastructure shifts. In the 21st century, the race is about intelligent infrastructure networks that think, adapt, and optimize in real time. Right now, that race is tightening. Every delayed port expansion, every stalled rail upgrade, every underfunded bridge widens the gap. Every automated crane installed in Shanghai, every new Belt and Road corridor completed narrows the window for American catch-up. The impending crisis is not dramatic headlines, it is quiet compounding. It is efficiency gains stacking year after year. It is supply chains becoming smoother in one hemisphere while remaining tangled in another. We are witnessing a shift in the global wealth engine. The world's economic center of gravity has been moving east for decades. Infrastructure accelerates that motion. If the United States treats logistics as background noise, it risks waking up to a new reality, one where it is no longer the central note of global commerce, but a participant in networks designed elsewhere. The solution is not fear, it is focus. Modernized ports with automation, integrate digital systems across supply chains, streamline permitting processes while maintaining environmental standards, invest in workforce training for high-tech logistics jobs, strengthen alliances to create resilient trade corridors that share democratic standards. The stakes are generational. Infrastructure rarely makes headlines when it works, but when it fails or when it falls behind, it reshapes nations. The cranes towering over Shanghai's skyline are not just steel and cables, they are signals of ambition. They are monuments to strategic patience. America built the last century's logistics empire. The question now is whether it will build the next one. Because if we don't fix this infrastructure gap now, we're not just risking delays at our ports, we're risking the quiet transfer of economic gravity, influence, and power. And once the crown of global logistics leadership is seated, history suggests it is rarely returned without a fight.